Good morning. I'm Dr. Ruth Roberts, your pet's ally. I hope that everyone is well and that the internet gods are treating us kindly today. It's strange that internet service is worse in New Mexico than it is in Mexico, but it is that way sometimes. So we've got a bunch of great questions, so I'm going to jump over to the page on Facebook. And Lolly, I want to make sure we get this question answered for you, and I'm going to go back to your additional one at the top as well. So 8 ounces of meat a day for a 26 to 28 pound dog is kind of high. And again, so if you start with 8 ounces of meat, and that has roughly 30 grams of protein, I think that's, or 54 grams of protein, depending on what type of meat you use. So fish has less versus beef. It's still the same amount of protein when it's cooked, even though the volume decreases. So it's just broken down so it's more easily assimilated. And then as far as the linoleic acid, I'm going to get back to that in just a second. So kind of keep that in mind. Hannah's uploaded the Crock-Pot worksheet template, and there's another piece which will get uploaded in a minute that will help Jamie support Willie a little bit better. So, and good, thanks for reaching out about the what you guys do on the weekend. Yeah, I'm kind of gotten to be an early riser too. I used to stay up a lot later. Actually, I used to just not sleep very much. So it's been nice to be able to sleep 6 or 7 hours and all good. And then I love this. So Bettina and Rob got tired of burning out immersion blenders. So Rob got some sort of a drill bit and attached it to his power drill, got it all cleaned up and pretty and stuff. But I think that's absolutely hilarious. And that's us today. Let me make sure there's not a question hidden in here. And welcome everybody, Helen, Chrissy, Kelly, Elaine. Really glad for you guys to be with us. So welcome to you all. And Lolly is asking about the fulfillment issue. And Hannah and I, Hannah more so than me, have been tearing our hair out because there's been a bunch of software issues, and so we're getting this sorted out. All of your orders should have been shipped by now. And I think that Paul, Hannah's husband, who's working with us now, has emailed you individually and gotten you tracking information and all that good stuff. And so as our apology, we are offering you a $20 credit or a bottle of turmeric because of this crazy, stupid stuff. So again, we should have everything finished up today as far as getting tracking information, making sure things are out, and so knowing when you will have a delivery. So if you received an email from Paul or a call, that's what this is about. So just let him know what you would like, and we'll make sure to get you the tracking info as well. It's just like, man, you cannot switch software and not test it and make sure it's working first before you unleash it on your customers. So it's been a real frustrating thing. Now, Jamie's asking about a bland version of Crock-Pot and cooling too. So to that end, this sheet, which will make look a little bit prettier, I'd made a bunch of years ago, so it's divided up into things that are warm, neutral, and cold, and then things that are chi tonics, blood tonics, yin tonics, et cetera, et cetera. So, for instance, and actually we had a great iPets Ultimate where I kind of went through energetics of food and food therapy and then seasonal eating, but we'll upload this for you because I'm honestly not quite sure where things are. So Jamie, you would want to choose things like I think in this situation, whole eggs are fine because he really needs the protein. But what you could choose to make it a bit more cooling would be something like barley. Brown rice is cooling, white rice is warming. And then if you want to add some sort of green in there, you could add a little bit of spinach. You could also add some banana. It's a little bit higher in sugar, but it will kind of help stop some of this stuff up. And then things that add a lot of fiber, so for instance, many beans or turnips or white potatoes, sweet potatoes, those would also help kind of pull the dampness out of the gut and help them kind of settle the diarrhea down. So we'll get this uploaded for you today. And then back to these questions. Deb's asking about her youngest dog is 18 months and she's having a heck of a time getting weight on him. And I'll have to tell you, Deb, my old setter, Esau, we had to feed him 4 cups of food total per day, including some extra rice and fat. So we had to feed, I think it was 2.5 cups of crock-pot, 1.5 cups extra rice, and then something like 2 tablespoons extra fat. And this was to keep him at 46 pounds, which was kind of his optimal weight. Now, the legumes, again, the whole thing about legumes causing dilative cardiomyopathy is because they are in excess in these grain-free diets. So they make up something like 65 to 70% of the diet calorically. And this is just way too much. And so their phytates or anti-nutrients prevent taurine from being absorbed into the body. And so this is where I think you could add beans back in because they're a great source of protein. They're a slow burning carb, meaning that they don't get released all at once. And so I think this would definitely help you keep weight back on. And Margaret, this is interesting that you can see turkey and chicken, they lose weight, pork, they maintain weight, and then beef, they gain weight. And so that's the thing, you may need to add a bit more oil here and there to kind of bump their weight up a bit. So hope that's helpful, Deb. Carol's got some problems also with her older Labradoodle who's become a picky eater. And it may not be the protein. So what I would do is look at what vegetables are you using on a regular basis. And do we need to adjust the diet for her so that it becomes more palatable? So for instance, if you've been using broccoli constantly, then take that out of things and back down to the vegetables that are easier to digest. So things like Napa cabbage or bok choy are great choices for brassicas. And then the other options would be if she's been eating beans with all of the batches, try taking those out. And then if you've added some chicken on top of the food and you've not seen any issues as far as allergies or GI disturbances, then it may be that chicken is perfectly okay. So you could swap that in for turkey and try some chicken thighs because they're a little bit higher in fat. So I hope that is helpful for you, Carol. And Mary's asking if eggs can be used as meat in the recipes, and you can. I will warn you that, so a dozen eggs equals roughly 1 pound of protein. I will warn you that they are high in sulfur, and so the gas tends to be a little intense as a result. So just be cognizant of that. But yeah, I mean, if you've got chickens, that's a great protein to substitute in. And mustard greens are perfectly okay. They will be a little spicy, so you don't want to use them as sort of like all by themselves. So I would mix them with, chard or spinach or something a little less intense. And let's see. And then here's Lolly's other question. So so protein is protein. If you put 8 ounces in, the amount of protein is not degraded by the cooking. So you're okay there. 8 ounces is 8 ounces. Meat protein is actually higher in phosphorus than the beans. So I think you're okay to use beans there as long as there's no digestion issues with them. So the same volume or mass just cooks down, but what you put in, what you started with is kind of what you get back out. Now, the grapeseed oil question. I've been hearing that maybe not to use it, and so I did a little bit more research, and evidently what it is that it can be contaminated with PAHs, which are kind of gnarly, and if you cook with it, then they get turned into a substance that can be cancerous. Now, because you are using this after the food is already cooled down, you're not going to be denigrating any of the good effects of the grapeseed oil. And then this article did as good of a summary of what's going on with grapeseed oil as anything else. Now, in terms of dogs specifically, so I'll drop this in the chat for you. In terms of dogs specifically, I think there's some concern about grapeseed oil because it comes from grapes, and the grape toxin is in the skin all by itself. So there's no evidence of any toxicity to dogs from consuming grapeseed oil. So I don't think that this is a real concern, but there are some good benefits to grapeseed oil, but it is higher in omega-6 fatty acids, which is what's in the protein. So this is why I suggest rotating everything. Now, the other thing is with any of these oils, there are several ways for them to be processed. Some of them are with some pretty nasty chemicals, and so you need to look for oils that are cold pressed so that they are not heated to extract the oil. So that's what you want to look for on the bottle. So all of these other oils, safflower oil, it can be quite good, but you do need to look for one that is cold pressed and non-GMO sourced. Same thing with grapeseed oil, and the sunflower oil is another one that's pretty easily available commercially. So, but again, just look at how it is processed, and I think that will help tremendously. But again, rotation is going to help keep things sort of in balance, if you will. Again, so we have this obsession in veterinary medicine that every single bite of food has to be completely healthy and balanced, and really it's a long-range thing because that's not how we eat, not how they ate as we all evolved together. But what you want to do is make sure that you are rotating everything so that over time the nutrition is balanced. So for instance, Mary, we've been trying to eat a lot less animal products because of the impact on the environment. And so we had a day with no animal products, and we sort of used that to kind of clean our cells out a little bit. And so that's kind of our day to eat a ton of carbs, because if you take out animal